Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing and our spiritual message for this Sunday. I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum, and I'm here with you for one of my favorite ceremonies. Traditionally, at the start of each year, we get together to talk about finding our word, our guidance for the new year. But we're going to start out this morning with some nice, interesting new piece of music I haven't heard before by our friend Eddie Watkins Jr. It's called It's a New Day. We'll get you started here. There we go. Okay. Feel free to clap along and just let the music come you. Yeah, be with it. It is a new day. It's a new year. It's a new start. All for you.
Every day we're born again to create this world we live in. So now let's claim our good and speak our word and release it to the universe. It's a new day. Right here is where we take a stand. It's a new day. Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. All together hand in hand. It's a new sing our love across the land. Right here we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. Every day I'm filled with wonder by the glory of the silent thunder unfolding from down under. Satchitananda. It's a new day. Right here is where we take a stand. It's a new day. Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. All together hand in hand. It's a new sing our love across the land. Right here we're making a difference.
Well, it is a new day. It's a brand new year, all for us to step into. And I don't know, are you one of those resolution makers? I kind of realize that I make resolutions every day because I need to keep reminding myself, and they vary from day to day. But if those of you that know me know that I have a house full of animals, and I got some ideas for resolutions for my dog. This is what my dog thought that would be really helpful. He said the best resolutions are more playing, eating, and sleeping. And who can agree with that, right? But resolutions are a waste of time if you see a squirrel. And boy, isn't that about our life? The squirrel, that bright, shiny thing that all of a sudden gets our attention away from where we want to go, what we want to do. So for us that are in the resolution world, it's not about beating up on ourselves. It's about letting that squirrel go and getting ourselves back on track. Excuse me. Well, new year, new theme for the year community. The theme is how to stay centered no matter what. And I think that's going to be a very appropriate theme for us as we step into co-creating a new normal for our world. And each month this year has a focus on one of our 12 powers, our 12 faculties. And January is faith. And I love this affirmation. My faith assures me that every event in my life has meaning and brings gifts. You know, and as we look back at the year that we have ended, certainly wasn't a year we'd like to repeat, but there were many gifts. There were many wonderful things that happened that year, in spite of all the things that we lived through that were maybe not our choice, if you know what I mean. This is a great quote for the new year. Hope smiles from the threshold of the year to come, whispering, it will be happier. It will be happier. And I love this graphic with the wilted plant, the last leaf dropping off in 2020. And we have this whole new garden to plant and to nourish and to grow within ourselves. I kind of look at the new year as like crossing a bridge. And here's a picture here of a footpath. And there's another big city bridge. And the interesting thing about the path, when you go through a bridge, it's not much different on the other side. You just had to go through this experience, through this bridge to get to the other side. And I think that's the same way with the new year. In my mind, I had built up that once it became 2020, we'd lose all these restrictions, but that's not true. It's a gradual change, this journey, inch by inch, um, health by health, as we go into the new year. So it, I was surprised I woke up that the whole world didn't look differently on January 1. Just looked like a little more the same, but there was a sense of something different. There was something in the air that was uplifting, that kind of took us into, we knew we were into something new, some kind of new dimension. And when I thought of bridges too, I thought about the bridge at Unity Village, just as a bridge of faith. And again, absolutely, it is the same on both sides, but there's something about crossing over that bridge, crossing over the water. Something changes within us. So the new year really was birthed within each of us, within our attitudes. It's such a wonderful symbol or ceremony, to ritual, to have that ability to think about, okay, we are beginning with a clean slate. We get to start over each year. And of course, as Eddie Watkins Jr. was saying, we get to be reborn each day. And that's true. We are never stuck in a story. We can always change the page. So I'm going to just stop this. There we go. So, the last couple of weeks I've been referring to the promised land. When Moses was leading the people out of bondage, they wandered for 40 years in the desert to reach the promised land. And as I mentioned in the opening, this year, this week, we reached the promised land after a long time of wandering, years of looking for new places or ways to make our building handicap accessible. And then we had the fire, and we went over to the Fledge, and then we had COVID, and we all dispersed to our own places. And I thought about the story of Moses in reaching the promised land. And it wasn't all milk and honey when they got there, even though it was the land of milk and honey. They were exhausted. It had been a tough emotional year. And so it is with us. Many of us may feel just a little bit exhausted. It's been a long time, and we still know that we have a long journey ahead of us. A big important thing about crossing into the promised land for both the people, the Hebrews, and also for us mentally and emotionally, is that we can make a conscious decision to overcome that habitual thinking of times when we have failed, times that we exhibited less skilled behavior. Now, the interesting thing, when the Hebrews went to the promised land, it wasn't there empty, just waiting for them to inhabit it. It was filled with some hostile people. There were people already living there, enjoying this land of milk and honey. So they had some struggles. And so it is with us as we enter into the new year. It's not that all of our negative self-talk has stopped. It's still back there. We still need to have that ongoing awareness to let go of that negative self-talk, the let go of our past. Whatever's happened in the past does not control our future. And that includes successes and failures that would just hold us back. And there's also a sense of, we've been looking forward to the new year, for 2020 to be over. There's been a lot of dates we've looked forward to. And when you're looking forward to something, it's like you're a nomad. And now we're here. We need to move from being a nomad to a settler. Even us as a Unity community, we have wandered looking for that right and perfect home for actually several decades. And now, instead of being this nomad, this searcher, this seeker, we are now a founder. We have found our place. We have reached our promised land, all the things that we envisioned. And it does cause a change in thinking for us. So be aware that as a community, we are going to be making these changes. And also as individuals, we make these changes, learning to settle in, not to settle for something, but to settle in, to become that homesteader. People talk sometimes about a geographical cure when people's life, they're having some struggles, so they move someplace. Well, you may change the outer, you may change the physical, but you always bring yourself with you. So the internal work continues to be with us. When there's a couple pictures up on Facebook of me with the key opening the door to the new property. And my old key doesn't fit the new property. When I step into something new, I need to have a new key. Maybe I've had the key all along, but I just haven't used it before. But knowing that, like last week when we used the dissolving paper to let go of those things that no longer serve us, those keys that once opened the place where we were now get set aside and left behind as we move in and step in to the new journey, the new experience. So the most authentic journey we can have is one with spiritual music, if you will, one that is the song of your heart, your individual heart, my individual heart. And, during COVID, we've had a lot of physical isolation. We may have seen a few people in a bubble, but we haven't had the freedom to move and mingle. And life has, in some ways, been at a slower pace. There's less traffic on the road. There's less activities you have to get ready to go to, unless it's a Zoom meeting, which is right in your home. And we generally have had less external interactions with each other in person. Question is, though, during this time of COVID, have we still had internal interactions, internal growth, internal pondering? Have we allowed ourselves in this very strange time to listen to that still small voice within us? Do we hear the song of our heart, that vibration of who we are in the universe? The world is a lot quieter, and it's a wonderful invitation to really deeply explore that inner journey. Many of us consider ourselves unsuccessful or frustrated or unhappy. But every now and then we get that moment when we sing out loud the song of our heart, when we really step into our passion, we step into our purpose, we step into our divine beingness in this life experience. The song has 3 basic notes, even though it has a lot of harmonies and riffs that are all very individualized for us. So today I just want to take a moment to go through those 3 basic notes so that we can sing our song into the new year, even as we get ready in meditation to listen to Spirit, to get that word of guidance for the new year. So the first note is a C note. It's called clarity. In order to sing our song, we must be able to hear our song, to get clear about what our song is. What is our passion, our purpose, our beingness in this life? The way we get clarity is something you hear time and time again. We take the time to pray. We take the time to meditate. We may do a heart lock-in, really lock into how are we feeling, not the kind of the teenage emotional responses, that kind of gut instinct response, but that deeper heart response that's a mixture of our feeling nature and our thinking nature that allows us to move forward with great clarity. And if you've had trouble connecting with your heart, because there's been a lot of tugs on it this year. Next week, we have a wonderful man coming, Reverend David MacArthur, who's going to talk to us about heart math and actually offer a workshop in it. It's a great tool to help us really get clear and centered in our heart song. As we're looking to get coherence with our heart and our outer action, what makes it difficult is there's a lot of outer noises out here, those competing sounds, those old tapes that we have, you should have, would have, could have. It's so important for us to stay on our tune, to bring that vibration to the world, because we are the only ones that can do it. And we know the world without us would be less. It just wouldn't be the same. So these competing sounds, these competing ideas, it reminds me of you're singing. Do you ever do a round with somebody, or maybe you're singing a quartet, and you're really set, you have your tune and you're singing it, then all of a sudden you find you're singing what the other person is singing instead of your own notes, right? And that's what it is with our life. We have our song, we start out with that intention, we've made that resolution, but then I don't know, something else kind of grabs our ear. We start down a different path. We start down a different path. So it's real important for us to get clarity on what our song is. And then the second note is also a C. It's to make that commitment to holding to our tune, holding to our song, holding to our passion. When we hear it, we need to commit to it. This song, you can think of it as a clear, concise vision of our heart, our soul heart, that deepest part of us. And for some of us, that song, we might, in a sense, hear it. We might, in a sense, see it, a vision within the closed eyes of our mind. Or maybe it's a feeling. We just know when we're in the vibe, we're in that vibration, when we are totally being authentic. We are being coherent with our being, with our feelings, and with our action. And knowing that there is not another person in this world that can sing our song, just as we can't sing somebody else's song as our solo. I thought of song as an anagram. Spirituality obligates necessary growth. The song is not stagnant, just a song. They're not songs that are one notes, there are many notes. And that's where the growth comes in as we learn to sing all those different notes, as we expand our ranges of ability to connect with God in all the many forms that we encounter it, our ability to feel the oneness, even though we have all these individual expressions. And there's a proverb that says, commit your work to God and your plans will be established. So whenever we feel like we're getting a little laryngitis in our song, that we're not able to sing it out, remember, it is never God's reluctance not to allow us the power, the strength, the guidance to sing our song. It's always our resistance to it, right? Most of us see the handwriting on the wall. We just don't think it's for us. We assume it's for somebody else. So the idea of committing our life to something greater than us, something divine, not that it might be measured great by human standards, but measured great by standards of the heart. This is the theme, the story that we are committed to in this life that we have been gifted to live. Okay. So we have clarity about our song. We are committed to singing it. But then, songs are nice, that one little tune by itself, but how much wonderful it is when there's a great sense of harmony. Like, it's so great to sing in the choir. You don't have to be a great singer, but when all the voices are together, the voices ensemble are so much greater than the individual voice. It's just such an uplifting spiritual experience to sing in a group. Psalmist wrote, how good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. When we sing together in that unity, when we add to each other, not subtract from each other. We're not the noise in somebody else's song. We are a full-on symphony of vision and passion. Which brings me to the third note. Oh, another C note, cooperation. It's not fun to sing alone. Well, not as much fun anyway. Oh boy, when you get to sing with somebody else, you get to have the harmony and the cooperation, and music kind of plays with each other. I mean, our life is not meant to be some kind of a cappella solo. It's meant to be full and boisterous and a vibration that touches others in ways that lift them up, that express compassion, that has an understated sense that we know we are one. We may be different, and at the same time, we are one. And boy, with others, we can make beautiful arrangements, and we get to have our own percussion system. We've all heard the line about we walk to our own drummer. Sometimes it's different than others. We get to have our own pace, our own rhythm in our song. And in cooperation, we get voices that support us, even as our song supports other voices, right? Isn't that wonderful how that works? We get to sing our song in harmony with others. And you cannot give without receiving, nor can you receive without giving. So our song becomes part of somebody else's symphony, even as their songs support us in ours. It's been said that what one heart cannot bear alone, 100 hearts beating together can. So over time, we have each formed a spiritual bubble where we feel safe. Those people that we reach out to talk with, to pray with, maybe even sing with or dance with, knowing that somehow it revitalizes us, it refreshes us, it lifts us up in ways that we alone cannot lift ourselves up. So today, we commit to the song of our heart. We look for clarity, to be clear and concise in our song. Really, if it's just kind of soft and misty, get real specific about what it is, what that note is that you're receiving from Spirit. Commitment, that we are committed to our song. And if we're not sure what it is, then simply be committed to finding it. What are those things or that thing that you're being called to do in this moment? And it may change over time as we grow in understanding or as the music changes, it goes into another segment. And then that whole idea of cooperation with singing our song and singing with others, helping them sing their song. You know what? This is a time that I would encourage you to be a C student, the 3 C's, right? Clarity, commitment, and cooperation makes a beautiful song, I promise you. There's a man by the name of Jerome Case Jerome. And he wrote that one day he noticed he had an ache in his finger. And so he went to Dr. Google to look up arthritis. And by the time he got through reading 2 pages, he knew he had arthritis in every joint of his body, his hands, his knees, the whole bit. And it so shook him, they went on and started Googling other medical conditions. And as he thought for sure, after reading the symptoms, he must have had leukemia, ulcers. That's why his stomach was bothering him. He went on to all these different pages. He was so frightened and so self-diagnosed, courtesy of Dr. Google. He went to the doctor, certain that he was going to die before morning. He felt sicker and weaker as each moment passed. And he went to the doctor and explained what he had and where he needed help. And the doctor very calmly sat and wrote a prescription for him. And he took the prescription to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist said, "Oh, we don't have this in the drugstore." And he said, "What do you mean you don't have this in the drugstore? You're the largest drugstore in town, and I need this, or I'm going to die." The pharmacist says, "Yeah, we're the largest drugstore, but I don't have this." And he handed him back the prescription. And so Jerome opened it, and it said, "Every day, walk 8 miles. And as you're walking, tell your body how glorious it is. Every day, talk to different parts of your body. Praise your joints. Praise your heart for beating so well during the night. Praise your lungs for beautiful breath that it is giving you. Praise your joints for moving you along. If you do this every day, a new vitality will come to you." Well, as we start this new year, we can write ourselves a prescription too, to praise those things, not look for what's broken, but just like you would take a violin and slowly turn the little tuning knob to get the string to make the right note, so do we do that with our lives. We can do those slight improvements every day by focusing on the harmony, not the disharmony, by focusing on the song, not the noise. Yeah. So, the key to the new promised land is not the key to yesterday, but the new key that you have today as we start on this new journey together as a community and as our lives. So our spiritual practice for this week is to really listen to ourselves. We can write ourselves a prescription. We don't have to go to a doctor. We know what we need to do. We need to get out there and start praising, start singing about the good. Write that musical score. And whatever it is that we feel moved to do, we get to write it on our white stone as a word of guidance for this year. So we're going to be doing a meditation to help us tune in to that word that's going to help us do a tune-up for 2021. And it's a process that may happen today when you listen to the meditation, or it may be a process that unfolds for you as the week goes on. You'll find a word that keeps popping up and you go, why is that? Why do I keep seeing that word or hearing that word? And then start realizing that this is the universe talking to you. This is you connecting with spirit in the very deepest way. So here we go in just a moment. But first, I want to take a moment of gratitude. We have had one incredible year. And as much as there were a lot of things we don't like that happened, there were some wonderful things that happened. And part of it is your participation and your support in this ministry. Unity is a well and alive. Certainly looks different than it's ever looked before, but at the same time, it looks the same because we are people reaching out to one another, some more frequently than others. We know we're here even when we can't see us. And part of the way we celebrate our financial gifts is by sharing in tithes to our community. And we are in a new year, so it's your turn right now to nominate a local charitable organization to be one of the nominees for our Congregants' Choice. At the end of the month, you're going to have a chance to vote electronically on your choice for the year. So think about who inspires you with their work, who inspires you with what they do. Go to their website, get their mission, vision, and send it on to me at Rev Sharon Ketchum at unity.com, and those will become our choices that we will vote on, so that we can share our good with those others that are doing so much good. And of course, we can never forget our own life. We have all been so blessed in so many ways. This beautiful snow this weekend, Saturday morning looking out, everything was just so perfect and so beautiful. And that's the truth of life. So as we think about what is so perfect in its essence and what is so beautiful in its truth, how many ways we've been blessed, we just take a moment to hold those into our heart in deepest coherence with love and joy as we affirm together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. And so it is. Well, this is Unity on Demand, so you can binge watch us, all 3 segments at once, or you can watch us in segments according to your schedule. And if you're watching us Sunday at 10:30, join us on Zoom for a live fellowship. Nothing formal, totally informal. Bring your own coffee, though, and we'll see you there. Right now, if you'd like to, grab your own hand, or if you happen to have somebody sitting next to you, even if it's a 4-legged, join together as we sing with our traditional song, I Choose Love. It's a song we can all sing in harmony. It's just a little slow starting. Well, we will sing that later then. I guess it was not meant to be, and that's okay. God bless. See you in meditation land. Bye.